Please now join me in welcoming Saurabh Taneja, CEO of the Akanksha Foundation, and with him we have Dhanishri Birajtar, a ninth grade student of Akanksha's Bopuri School. They are going to share their views on the topic, a student's vision for blended learning in redesigning schools. Over to you, Saurabh.
Thank you, everyone, for logging in. Dhanashree and I are here to build a case to reimagine our schools for future. Sir Ken Robinson said, "We don't grow into creativity, we grow out of it, or rather, we get educated out of it." And part of the adventure is not just in developing creativity in the kids, but thinking about schools in a completely different way. We at Akanksha believe that the current crisis is a perfect opportunity for us to do just that: reimagine our schools from scratch. It's perhaps the first time in our lifetime that all of us have been shunted out of our boxes. And this is the moment for us to build back better. And here is why. Here is Dhanashree's vision of what she believes an excellent education should look like for a child.
Yes. So my dream is to work in the Indian education sector to enable each and every kid to receive an excellent education irrespective of their background. For me, education is an ultimate solution for all the problems and misery in the world. It can actually solve all the crises which are existing in the world right now. Education makes me a stronger person to solve the many problems around me and makes me capable of bringing a difference in the society. Education gives me a reason to exist. For me, there are three aspects for excellent education. The first one being safe spaces for kids to explore, learn, find, and maximize their potential. While I will graduate from school, when I look back into my school days, I will not only think of the academics that I perceived, but the amount of exposure, learnings, and experiences and the joy that I got from that. We need a safe space for each kid to express themselves in order to grow and find their potential. The second one being problem solving skills. An excellent education will help a kid to be able to aware the problems which are existing in the society and also will enable a kid will to solve them by the relevant skills and learning which are gained through school. I feel when a kid does problem solving, he or she gradually sets a mindset that every problem is an opportunity to learn, experience, and grow. The third one being holistic development. Education isn't just about getting literate, but it's a lot more than that. It's about integrating the 21st century skills to strive in this world and to become a better leader. There should be an integration of the 8 season learning and teaching system. Every kid has their own way to learn, maybe through visualization, reading, writing, etc. But the current teaching model doesn't cater to each and every kid's learning style. And it's only about transferring information to be able to write exams. Holistic development approach might fulfill the style of each kid to more make learning for them more personalized and maybe just transform education into more beautiful space. Thank you.
Wow, if you are an educator like I am, that must have given you goosebumps. All the reading and research that talks about reimagining education really starts from defining what is your bold and ambitious student vision. This, everyone, is Akanksha Network's student vision. which we co-created in partnership with our students, our educators, the industry experts, and everyone that you can think of a couple of years ago. This is an encapsulation of the skills, the mindsets, the values that we want our kids to grow up in today's society. And the three outermost circles, mastery, autonomy, and purpose, as you all may be aware of from Dan Pink's work, are the key drivers for any individual to sustain themselves lifelong. And therefore, we believe that this is the starting point of any efforts in reimagining education. The current crisis has pushed us to think about technology in tremendously different ways. Even though we at Akanksha were always thinking about integrating technology, the current crisis has opened up new avenues and possibilities that we never imagined when we were still stuck in the box. And here is what Dhanashree has to share on what she has taken away in the last 5 months of virtual learning.
Like all of us miss school as I do, but then there are some possibilities that the technology and virtual learning has opened for me. The first one being, now I can learn at my own pace. It has granted me the privilege to learn at my own pace in my own comfort zone, and there isn't any restriction of location for me to complete my assignments. I can sit in any corner of my home and complete my assignments. Boundaryless learning. We can connect boundaryless learning, like there will be no boundaries like countries and states, etc. on learning. Anyone from anywhere can teach and learn if they have an internet connection, which is why the restriction to access of knowledge and exposure is minimized. Any skill can be developed by just sitting at home. And the third one being, many platforms are now available to learn. There are a lot of good number of platforms which are available online where we can learn concepts and things that are academic and non-academic. The role of the educator is slowly evolving from an instructor to a facilitator. Unlike schools, where the time for everything was limited, but online and virtual learning has helped us to go beyond these four walls and allowed us to revise, learn, gain new information from anywhere and whatever we want, which is a big advantage of the virtual learning platforms. Over to you, Bhaiya.
Thank you, Dhanashree. I believe in the current context, we hear so much about the EdTech, which talks about disrupting only the top 1% of families and students who can actually pay. We believe that technology will play a fundamentally different role in completely reimagining a school model. However, integrating technology is not that simple and straightforward. If you analyze our country's efforts in the last 2 decades, we, from the SAMR model analysis perspective, have primarily stayed focused on just substitution and augmentation. Now is the time to really think about using technology to redefine, to reimagine the things that we used to believe were not even possible to do at the school level. That's why we at Akanksha are very excited about the possibility of the blended learning model. The blended learning model, to put very simply, is just a mix of face-to-face learning, the brick and mortar teaching and learning, which is what is the current traditional model, and the online learning, which is what we have been pushed to experiment with in the last 6 months. While the initial research on blended learning is demonstrating significant improvement over the existing traditional model, we do understand that there is still a long way to go. And that's why, as we think about the research steps in how do you redesign the school, keeping in blended learning in mind, here is a simple toolbox, which is borrowed from the blended learning universe from Clayton Christensen Institute. A really famous Harvard professor, Clayton Christensen, came up with the design methodology. And if you notice, of all the 9 steps, the choice of technology does not come in until step number 5. The prerequisites of inspiring the students, motivating our teachers comes much sooner than thinking about the tech, hardware, and software solutions, which is something that we believe is missing in the current narrative. The blended learning model itself has several choices that one can make as you think about what the possibilities lie ahead of us. All in all, I believe that the blended learning presents a potential positive future and things that we have never really envisioned in the past. And here is what Dhanashree has to say that to her principal on what the schools can look like once they reopen after COVID.
Yeah. So after the schools reopen post-COVID, I have 4 suggestions to make to my principal, which we need to integrate in our school. The first one being, we should have a reduction in teaching time. Kids and teachers will act as equal partners in education. After the schools resume again, where kids are aware of the learning platforms and how to use them, thus there should be a deduction done in the teaching time, where like instead of just teaching and explaining the information that is already out there on the internet, that time can be used for debates and discussions in the classroom on a topic where kids critically think and communicate their perspectives on the same. That teaching time can be also used to develop life skills, to increase the time of clubs, etc. The second one being, the format of homeworks will change. The format of homeworks that exist should be changed from solving questions and numericals and just doing practicing to doing researches, making documents, innovating new things. As we all know, pre-COVID, everything was different. We needed to wait till the school starts to ask our doubts. But now, as our doubts can be solved in just minutes, we can use the homework time very effectively. The third one being awareness around media, skills like coding and computing, focus on e-learning now should be part of the curriculum. Now that the importance of technology is known by students, they must learn the basics of it to strive in this 21st century. Now that the kids have the access to devices and social media, kids should know how to be safe on media platforms, how to use them effectively. And I feel that the learning of these things should be done in school as the needs are continuously evolving. The fourth one being online tests and tracking of progress, replacing the traditional way of exams. This way of taking exams and also tracking the progress of a student will have a lot of benefits, like the progress and results will be more personalized. Papers will replace devices, which will help to prevent harm on the nature as we are using devices now. The checking of answer sheets and writing progress reports for teachers was a tough job. It consumed a lot of time and also a lot of hard work of teachers. But if they use that amount of and effort in something else, then they could do something more productive and effective, where the checking of exams and tracking progress cards can be done through a software. That's what I feel. I would make suggestions to my school leader after the schools resume again. Thank you.
I was blown away the first time Dhanashree shared all of these ideas with me. I thought they were in perfect alignment with what the ambitious vision of the new education policy today is. And if we as educators really believe that we need to be able to make that happen, the new education policy has also dedicated an entire segment to thinking about leveraging technology for teaching, learning, and fundamentally disrupting it in ways that we have never imagined. We believe this is the opportunity for us to do so. However, we must keep 3 things in mind. Start with an ambitious student vision. Think about the student and the teacher voice in carving out the design of what the reimagined vision of students and learning would look like, and then think about the technology. However, in the next decade, I believe the revolution and redesigning of the schools is imminent. The question is, are we as a country ready for it or not? I believe our students are. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening in. Thank you, Dhanashree.
Thank you, everyone.